All right, and thank you very much for tuning in. We are going to get this scrimmage underway again. This is AOE single split versus Blossom. AOE single split is going to be on the blue side. Blossom is going to be on the red side, and the bans are coming through now. We've got Shaco. Nobody likes to play against a Shaco, so that's a good ban there. Graves, who I've been seeing get played a lot in the top lane in these scrims, is banned out. Silas, who has been a popular band for quite a while, is not going to be seen this game. We've got Karma getting taken out of the rotation. She's great poke and has awesome team fight potential, so she is going to be removed. We've got the Lee Sin going to get removed. He has been a dominant champ in lane and even played as an ADC by some professional teams, so that's a nice little ban. And then we got Kendra getting taken out. Gwen is going to be our first pick for the AOE team. We've got a Kali coming back as an answer for the Blossom team. Volibear is an... I love to play Volibear in jungle. I also love to play Xin Zhao, though. I think early matchup, the Xin Zhao is going to shred through the Volibear, but late game, that Volibear will get kind of tanky, so we'll want to see how that goes. We've got Galio Nocturne in the mid lane, and Nocturne is super strong in lane right now with his roam potential, with his ultimate, along with how well he can push lanes with his Q and just sustain a fight. He is going to do really, really well in this match. I think Galio, again, will get a little bit tanky, though. So we'll just have to see how that fight plays out, but I expect Nocturne to be a bully early, just as much as I expect Gwen to be a bully early in the top lane. We're going to see Lulu taken out of here. Lulu is a great support to pair with your attack speed hyper carry champs like Vayne, Tristana, Jinx, those guys. So nice to see her pulled out of the rotation. Yorick, we won't see him anymore. Shin is going to get pulled out, and we're also going to see a ban come through for Kaisa. Strong ADC. We've got Aphelios here. Into the Sivir. And it looks like we're going to see a Master Yi support. What an interesting pick that would be. I don't think we're that lucky, though. Nothing too spicy will be played here like that, I would assume. And we will see Leona and Thresh locked in for the support. So we've got Gwen into Akali, Xin Zhao into Volibear. We've got Galio into Nocturne, and Sivir and Leona into Aphelios and Thresh. If you're in the chat, let me know who you think won the draft. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. We've got the blue side, the AOE single split, and we've got red side as Blossom. Let me know who you think won the champ select. If we're looking at it straight up, I would have to say that there's a lot of potential on the side of Blossom between having a Volibear on your front line, a Thresh on your front line, and then having a Nocturne, a Kali be able to jump in, and a Aphelios sustain your damage. That's quite the lineup. We've also got a great team on the other side, though. You've got a Galio on your front line, a Leona on your front line. You've got Xin Zhao who can get to the back. You've got Sivir who's going to put out a lot of damage. And you've got the Gwen who's great at sustaining and cutting people down. Her ultimate, or her pass... Her ability that removes the CC is also really nice to have, especially in team fights against somebody with a fear, against somebody with a run-and stun, against somebody with a hook. Things like that are going to be nice to try and negate those out early. So I'm glad to see the Gwens here. It's always fun to watch her get played. We do have a 3-minute delay for integrity of the game in case anybody is watching. That way they cannot, take our stream and run away with the game and get an advantage. But I'm excited to see how this game goes. I think I think that Gwen's going to have a little bit better time in the lane phase. That being said, I think Akali is going to be devastating in the team fights, getting onto the back line and doing some work to the Zenzao and the Sivir. I think that the Zenzao into the Volibear, I think Zenzao is going to be stronger earlier, but I think as that Volibear gets a little bit tankier, he is going to have a harder time cutting through him. Galio into Nocturne, I think Nocturne's going to get the laning phase, but again, as Galio gets a little bigger, depending on what they build on him, if they go more AP style, he might be able to chunk him out and fight it even-toed, but if he gets tanky and goes more that tanky build, I think that he has another potential to really just kind of sustain that damage through and put out some damage himself. Aphelios and the Sever, I'm excited for. This one is going to be. I like that Sever has her spell shield. I like Sever's poke damage. But Aphelios is just so busted, especially if you know how to play him well. Your rotation between the guns, your ultimate, like everything combined together, especially with the Thresh that has a little bit of that distance CC to bring them to you kind of thing. The knockback and the ult, like you can lock somebody down for quite a while. But on the same side, you've got Leona. You've got the E to dash in with a small stun. You've got the stun on her Q. You've got her ult coming down. So there's a lot of action that's going to go down in that bot lane. I expect to see a lot of back and forth early game, just trying to establish dominance and kind of keep up. The junglers are going to be huge in this game because whichever one of them can move around and kind of help influence the map is really going to help their team get up, because I think there's a lot of evenness throughout. I think you've got Gwen who's going to do really well. I think you've got Nocturne who's going to do really well. I think you've got the bot lanes that are relatively even. So it's going to come down to the junglers being present, making sure that they're, in the right spot, that they're prioritizing the right lanes, and not letting, not giving over a triple kill to the Aphelios or a double kill to the Akali or whatever it might be. I think that's going to be really important from the jungle side. So as we get into this game, we are going to be looking at the summoner spells and the runes that are taken. See if there's anything crazy, like maybe a Gwen with no flash, since she doesn't have to worry about getting CC'd that often, or an Akali with no flash, since she has her dash and she's so mobile. So we'll have to see what everybody picks, but we're going to go ahead and get into that right now. Alright, so we do have no flash on both of our tops. Gwen going barrier, Akali going ignite, so a little bit more kill pressure on the Akali side. Nothing crazy on the junglers there. Nothing too crazy on our mids. No heal on the side of Aphelios. We do have the cleanse coming out, though, because he's going to put a lot of respect on that Leona. And besides that, everything looks pretty standard. So, again, I'm excited to see this matchup. I think it's got a lot of things going for it. Cleanse was probably a smart choice between the CC from the Leona, between the Zenzao getting on there as well, and I think the Galio also. But I think ultimately this is going to be a very fun match. So here we go, getting into it. Let's pull everything up so that we can see what's going on. And kill the music. Alright guys, welcome to the Rift. Again, this is AOE Single Split versus Blossom. AOE Single Split is on the blue side. Blossom is on the red side. And this game is going to get started underway here any moment as both teams are entering onto the Rift. And that is a beautiful Nocturne skin. So as we get into the game, it is paused immediately. We're going to see what's going on here. And there we go. The game will freeze for a moment here in just a second. That's just the way it works. Let's take a look and see what they bought. We've got Volibear going with the Chilling Smite, Challenging Smite coming out of the Zenzao. We've got Doran's Blade on the Gwen, and we've got 2 Corrupting Potions on our mid. So pretty straightforward builds here. There's the freeze. And everybody's done a 5-point out across the map. Nothing too crazy. Everybody's just going to shake hands as this map starts. Volibear taking a little damage, blind checking that bush. Gwyn roaming in a very unfavorable position. It looks like they're going to try and make something happen onto the Volibear here. They're going to go ahead and just walk out after putting a little bit of pressure onto him. Galio going in kind of deep, finds himself outnumbered here if they decide to pinch him, but he's going to take a little bit of damage from the Q on the Nocturne and reset as well. And the game is going to be underway here in just a couple of moments. Again, if you're tuning in and you're watching, let me know who you think is going to win this game. I'm excited to see what you guys think in terms of who won draft, who do you think is going to be a bully, who do you think is going to wish they had gone a different rune setup or summoner spell. Talk to me a little bit if you're watching. And so far, everything is going pretty easy across the board. Thresh going up to be aggressive here, taking a lot of damage in the process, gets poked out quite a bit from that Sivir. Akali taking a little bit of damage there as they trade out, but nothing crazy. And it looks like blue side is going to press here. They beat the red side to level 1 and level 2, so they're going to go ahead and take a little bit of prio knowing that they're stronger here in the matchup, and they're going to try and deny as much as they can here. Meanwhile, Gwyn putting a lot of pressure on the Akali, crashing this wave in topside, trying to deny experience and gold as much as she can. She's up almost 5 CS at this point. Nocturne with the early back, getting the long sword and coming to lane. He's going to let that... We'll see how much of that CS he's able to pick up, but he's going to try and get an early lead in terms of items, but it looks like the Galio is going to back with a Dark Seal. So he's also trying to get a little bit of advantage in the lane as well. And we've got pings coming out that there might be some stuff going on mid. No, it looks like they're just going to go ahead and get that scuttle and take care of the bot side scuttle. We have a lot of people in the mid area. We could be seeing a gank going on in the mid against the Nocturne, but it looks like Xin Zhao is just going to run through. Volibear is going to swap with him, essentially. And blue side cannot like where their bot lane is stuck right now. It looks like they're kind of stuck in a little bit of a disadvantageous position. Here's some heavy trading coming out in the mid lane as Fear goes on to the Galio. Nocturne backs out immediately afterwards, having taken a little bit of damage, and will not follow it up. And he continues to get poked out by the Galio. Hits level 5 first, though, which you desperately needed, and he's chugging on his corrupting potions. And we've got Volibear in the area taking quite a bit of damage. And it looks like the junglers were matched down, and the first blood will go over to Sivir onto the Volibear. Double kill goes over to Sivir as she locks down the Aphelios. Now we've got teleports coming in across the board. Flash is coming out everywhere. Thresh will fall to the Xin Zhao. Nocturne taking quite a bit of damage, not quite able to lock up the kill. And the auto comes out of Sivir. She's going to take a lot of damage from that wave, but she will survive. And that is a triple kill going over to the favor of Sivir. And that is a 4-1 play. good job on the side of AOE single split for turning that fight. They did a great job with the engage. They burst down the volley bear. They were able to follow up on the Aphelios, and then as more teleports came in, having won that, there's very little the other teams could do besides try and run away. Nocturne was killed under turret. He almost survived, but just took too much damage there. As we reset on the map, we're going to do a quick look here and take a look at everything. There is about a 1.5 gold lead over to the side of AOE single split. You got a triple kill onto the Sivir. Red team isn't quite able to get a turret there, or a turret plate, and so everything else will kind of go back to farming as normal. We've got Xin Zhao coming in on the Nocturne, lands his W, spell shield down, follows in, and they secure the kill onto the Nocturne. With drag up, I think we will see the AOE single split rotating over to get the first Drake, which is a Mountain Drake. Volibear comes to catch this wave, make sure nothing too crazy comes of the play on mid. It would be really bad if that Galio just was able to get... Ooh, here comes the stun. Here comes some damage onto the Volibear. He's going to run away. The big wave coming at him. Galio respecting the flash stun comes out. He gets the ignite... or he gets in there, and a lot of damage coming out on the Volibear, able to get the kill. And so that is Galio with 2 kills now. Thankfully, Leona was able to re-engage there with her E-stun combo after the flash out of Volibear coming through onto the Galio, and Galio was able to secure that kill. And there goes the damage onto the Nocturne. Again, he's going to get caught out. The Galio ultimate comes out onto the Leona, and that is a kill over to the side of AOE single split. That now puts them at a 2,000 plus gold advantage across the map. A lot of that going on to Sivir and the Galio, who's been playing very well so far this game. Bottom lane is going to just be putting a lot of pressure here and start moving this wave up and bullying a little bit, because quite frankly they can. They find themselves at an item advantage, sitting on a pickaxe and a noon quiver versus 2 long swords and boots on the Aphelios, so there's not much that they have to worry about there. There is respect that needs to be given, but when you find yourself up that far, there's not a whole lot that you're worried about. Likewise, we see the top lane here, going with the Dark Seal and the Negatron Cloak into the Amplifying Tomb. I like that she went Door in the Shield there for the sustain. And it's a relatively even match on the top side. Down, about a wave, maybe a little bit more. Nothing too crazy there. But you've got a dominant Xin Zhao, a dominant Galio, and a dominant Sivir. All of them up in kills, 2 of them up in CS. So there's a lot to respect here as this game gets going. And we've got Xin Zhao. Looks like he's on the Rift Herald, but we've got Volibear coming up for a potential gank topside. The engage coming out of Gwen. The Shuriken misses on to the Gwen from the Akali. And we have a whole lot of blue on this top side between Xin Zhao, the Leona, and Galio all roaming in the area. Here comes Leona. She's going to try and catch something on... Oh, no, she's not. She's just going to help push that wave in so that everybody can get in. But here comes the dash in from the Akali. The Paranoia comes down from the Nocturne. He gets knocked out of his fear, and a kill comes on to the Leona. Another kill goes on to the Xin Zhao. There were 4 members at the right place at the right time for the side of Blossom, and they will lock down 2 kills on the top side. Gwen will be the only one that survives out of that fight that we saw. The Leona and the Xin Zhao will fall. It does look like the Xin Zhao was able to lock up the Herald, though, so he is going to be able to drop that somewhere on the map here and give them a nice little influx of gold. This Sivir is continuing to just pluck away at the bot wave, get solo experience, solo gold, so she can just get bigger, faster, and stronger. Not what the red team wants to see here, but good job from the red team in order to try and set the pace of their own game, get in there and get some kills, find themselves in a man advantage, and do what they can to stop the bleeding, get some gold on their side. Alright, here we go again, getting into the match. We've got quite the blue wave building up on the side of Gwen over there that she's going to try and crash in. And a lot of trading out going into the top. And it looks like they have an idea that somebody's in the area, Galio or somebody like that. They know that Thresh and Galio are going to be chilling in the area, and so they're trying to lend in support. A lot of damage coming onto the Sivir. Flashes out of there, gets over to the Leona, and the Galio ult comes down. They're very much able to disengage that fight like they needed to, because Sivir was going to take quite a beating if they didn't have that help. Now you've got 4 members of the side of AOE single split in the area, and not much will come of that little engagement. A lot of damage going on to the Gwen from the Akali. Her R is dropped, and she is taking quite a bit of damage. And that's going to be it for that fight on the top side. Both of them giving quite a bit of respect to each other and dancing off. The Gwen knows she's outmatched in terms of health and is just waiting for that wave to bounce to her. That's smart. And you've got the Sivir, who's going to be backing now on 105 CS, so that's quite the buy. She probably has her Mythic. There's the Gale Force. And she's able to get Berserker Boots with that buy. And that's more and more damage going on to the Gwen from the Akali. It just barely misses the hook onto the Xin Zhao. Thresh throughout. They're getting ready to spawn Dragon here in just under 10 seconds, and so we see a lot of the teams trying to prioritize in the mid lane and in the river just to make sure that they have a chance to get that Dragon. Rift Herald is going to be dropped mid. The Fear comes out from the Nocturne onto the Galio. Quite a bit of damage coming through, but the knockup comes in. It looks like the ult came out from Leona, but it just barely misses as the Nocturne flashes away and then hits the Lantern from the Thresh. So Rift Herald was able to get off onto the mid-side red turret and do some damage. However, it did not knock it down. We've now got the Paranoia coming out as the blue team secures the second Dragon. A lot of damage going on to the Nocturne. He will fall over to the Galio. It looks like it was a trade over onto the Volibear as well. All 5 members of the blue team AOE single split here in the area, and they will lock up 3 kills for none and secure their second Drake of the game, which was the Infernal Drake. We now find it as a soul map, which will be great if they're able to stack this up. The red team has a real chance, though. If they can get 4 of those Ocean Drakes stacked up for their side, I think they find themselves with that rejuvenation potential to take some of that burst. Take some of the burst and absorb some of that and sustain the team fights. But this Sivir is just continuing to get fed off these turret plates. There's not much that they can really do here. The Aphelios is still just working on his item. He's going to go Gale Force or Kraken Slayer. I would assume Gale Force. Had to give a lot of respect, though. He went the Mercury Treads, wasn't able to go Berserker Greaves because he knows there is a lot of CC coming out of the other team, especially in that bot lane. So just trying to give as much respect as they can across the map here. But yeah, let's see how the rest of this match gets underway. Top side, we've got Akali and Gwen taking quite a bit of trading. Looks like that Nocturne is getting kind of bullied around. Here's the ult out of Gwen onto the Akali. A lot of damage coming through. Now you've got the Volibear engaging. He's going his run and stun, and he's going to lead him right into the Xin Zhao, who's ready for it. And they're going to do quite a bit of burst damage to that Volibear, blow up the Akali, and there goes the volley. That's a double play on the top side. Good job for Gwen and Xin Zhao getting the kills top side. And Gwen is going to go ahead and push that in and get some damage onto the turret. Meanwhile, Nocturne is getting pushed into his turret, and it looks like first turret is going to go over to the Sivir. Thresh is taking a lot of damage here, falls down to the Sivir. Aphelios is getting chased out by the Sivir. A lot of damage coming through, has to flash to get away from Sivir's Q. He will fall away with his life, but just barely. And there is the second Tier 1 turret of the game going over to the side of AOE single split. And the third one falls as well. What a coordinated effort for all 3 Tier 1 turrets across the lanes to fall at the same time. Very good job and nice play coming out of the side of AOE single split. Looks like we've got Leona about ready to get caught out of position here. 4v1 brewing, not in her favor. You got the Volibear chasing, nothing will come of it. Blue side stealing quite a bit of jungle from the Volibear on the bot side of his jungle. Not much you can do about it at this point besides say that sucks and move on, try and play it elsewhere. Red grouping together here at the top side mid. It looks like they want to play around the Herald, which will be up for about another 3 minutes. Paranoia comes down, the Lantern taken in, quite a bit of damage coming out from these 3 members. They are going to get the kill onto the Nocturne. Nocturne trades over onto the Gwen. And it looks like it's a 2 for 2. Nocturne and Aphelios for Gwen and Leona. The poor Aphelios finds himself at 0-2. And now there is a second turret falling, tier 2 turret on the bot side. So guys, we've got quite a match here brewing. We find ourselves in a position where the red team is down about 10k gold at 15 minutes. It's not an unsurmountable lead, but it does feel bad. They've got to do something to help set the tone, stop the bleeding. Right now, you've got 4 members of a team that are just running wild on you between the Zenzal, the Galio, and the Sivir. So they've got to come up with an answer to that. Whether it's now that laning phase is starting to end, maybe they're going to start roaming more 3v2, 4v2, and start trying to group up more, and that'll give them advantage there. I don't know if that's going to work, but it might be their best play is to try and, team fight front to back, because right now they keep getting caught out in these skirmishes with the blue side, and it's not working out well for them. Even in the 2v2s, they find themselves down and getting blown up. So they need to come up with an answer here and try and outnumber the blue team as much as they can. We're going to see the objective, the Drake, coming up here in about less than 1 minute or so. Much less than 1 minute. We'll see it in about 15 seconds. Blue team dominant in their priority over the area. Gwen going to get caught out here, it looks like. You've got Thresh, Volibear, and Nocturne all in the area. The Fear comes out onto the Gwen. A lot of damage coming out. She's trying to sustain through it. She's going to get the Nocturne to have to flash away. Now you've got the Thresh coming in and the Aphelios. And finally, Volibear is able to lock up the kill onto the Gwen and get some of that gold back in their favor. They will give up Drake for it, which I don't know that they want to do, because this now puts AOE single split on Soul Point. That is their 3rd Drake of the game, and they're in a position where they could get a Drake as early as about 20... Yeah, they could get it at about 23 minutes, which is not going to go very well for the red side. Red side answering back here, though. They're able to get the Rift Herald and put it in play on top side and get quite a bit of damage onto that turret, so they give it to them. We've got a fight breaking out bot side here. TP coming in. Looks like Gwen's going to be joining the fight. Akali's trying to run for her life from the Galio and the Zenzal. They're just going to continue to chase, not scared of the turret at all. Takes the Shuriken to the face, but not worried about it. Does get the disengage and backs off. Gwen, meanwhile, is going to put a lot of pressure onto the bot side turret and draw Nocturne over there. Meanwhile, you've got a 2v3 breaking out on the top side, and it looks like, it's a 3v3 now that Galio joined the fight. They were able to get 1 kill onto the Leona, but then the red team loses Volibear, Aphelios, and Thresh all over to the Galio and to the Sivir. And we are going to see pressure going on to the top, mid, and bottom waves here as no objectives are on the map for them to fight over. This goal lead continues to grow. They find themselves at about a 9,000 gold advantage. I'm sorry, when I said it continues to grow, I mean it is staying still. That is because the red team is trading out a little bit, but they've got to do more here. They've got to find an answer to the AOE single split comp. Whether that means that they're trying to find a way to blow up the Gwen or slow her down or stop her, whether they're trying to find a way to get to the back line and get onto that Sivir, whether they come up with a plan to nullify the Zenzal, who's been very dominant, or get through the Galio. They've got to come up with an answer for this AOE single split team, or otherwise they're going to find themselves losing relatively quick here. Blue team is in position over on the Baron side, but it looks like they're going to ignore that for now and start moving over towards mid. Or maybe they're looking for a pick. This is what their team comp wants to do. They want to get a skirmish. They want to lock somebody down with some CC and then blow them up. And they've been doing a very good job of executing on that so far. We're just going to have to see how this continues to break out. And good vision control on the red side. They're trying to get some deep vision onto the other side, but they need it in their own jungle at this point. The Paranoia comes out from the Nocturne. The Fear goes down. Quite a bit of fighting going out, but the Nocturne will fall over to the Galio. Now we've got the Thresh falling over to the Leona, and wow, we've got more people dying here. There's quite a bit of damage coming out. They're going to fight under turret, not afraid at all. Gwen is going to lock up the Volibear kill. Akali goes into the Zonias, but she will also fall. The turret falls as well, and blue team finds themselves at a 4-for-1 trade. They are going to push to end tier potentially. You've got 4 members of the AOE single split team knocking on the door mid. The mid tier 1, the mid base turret falls, and now they've got the inhib. They're going to rotate bot side. They're going to go ahead and get the bot side base turret. They're going to get the bot side inhib. We've got members from the red team spawning, trying to engage on the blue team. Find themselves at a disadvantage here. You got healthy members from the red base running at you. The flash hook catches the Xin Zhao. The fear comes down onto the Xin Zhao. Galio ult's going to come in. Does not save him. Xin Zhao falls over to the Volibear. Now Galio finds himself caught out. A lot of damage coming through as the 4 members bust him down. And Volibear will lock up the kill onto the Galio. Red team says, all right, we're going to run to Baron right now. We find ourselves in a very dominant position, having taken out the Xin Zhao who has Smite. They're going to try and lock up this Baron and put themselves in a position where they can answer back. Now you've got Leona. She could be caught out here in a very bad position. And it looks like they're just going to rotate over, clear out the vision, and they're going to go ahead and start Baron. Yeah, with Xin Zhao down for another 10 seconds, why not? Teleport coming in from the Nocturne. His ult looks like it is going to be up, so if anything, they can use Paranoia here once Xin Zhao gets in the area and still try and win this Smite fight. Baron at over halfway done. They're melting it through. Blue team not going to be able to answer it. Leona taking quite a bit of damage. She gets caught by the Thresh hook. The Leona R comes down. The Ignite is out. We've got another teleport coming in from Akali, and a fight is breaking out here at the Baron pit. A lot of damage coming out onto the side of the red team, and that is Thresh that gets killed. That is Nocturne that gets killed. The flash comes out from the Volibear, and a lot of damage coming through. We were able to see that Sivir and Leona fell, but the Nocturne, the Aphelios, and the Thresh fell. Volibear is currently getting chased deep into the blue side of the map. Not much he can do at this point. He may end up falling as well, which means the Baron buff, though wisely played to get the Baron, will fall. They might... Yep. It looks like the red team didn't really want to engage on the Leona there. The blue team was going to just run mid, and if they would have used their Empower backs, they could have kept the Baron on all 5 members. But they decided to engage on the Leona, try and get the pick. The teleports came down, and they lost the fight. This is going to be Dragon Soul going over to the side of AOE single split. And yes, that is the Soul going over to the side of AOE single split. They now find themselves up just 8,000 gold. The gold lead has not continued to grow at this point. They're actually, if anything, they're losing part of their gold lead thanks to that Baron play and thanks to some of the team fighting, but they're not playing the map like they need to. They're engaging on the Leona and then losing a team fight that they didn't really need to take there, especially when you're... Why not fight mid? Why not fight bot? Why not fight where you have a wave instead of the river where you're at a disadvantage and you're relying on just sheer gold numbers when you have the Baron buff? So they do find themselves at a disadvantage here. They do have Akali, though, still with the Baron buff. Here comes Volibear, going to get caught out by the Galio and the Sivir. A lot of damage coming down. He's trying to run away, but the Sivir will lock up the kill onto the Volibear as he tried to just get some of his jungle. The poor Volibear just wanted to try and get a little bit of his raptors, you know, just say hi to the chickens real fast. Nothing comes of it. And the Leona fishing for hooks here, trying to land her E. The blue team is going to be dominant and just push in here. You've got 2 waves pushing in on the bot and mid side. You're at a man advantage. Now Nexus turrets are falling. Thresh lands a hook. It's not going to do too much. Thresh will fall over to the side of Gwen. Akali will fall over to the side of Gwen. They're chasing deep in the pit. It looks like Gwen will get the 3rd kill on Aphelios, but it will cost her life. You've now got the 2nd Nexus turret falling. A lot of damage coming out onto the Volibear after he spawns, trying to slow him down. There's nothing they're able to do, and the base will fall to the side of AOE single split. In this first game, they are the winners. Blossoms are not going to make it out. We will have the 2nd game coming to you soon. Thank you very much for tuning in, and stay tuned.
To clean up and tame. Oh, some things never change, never change. Oh. You think I would look pretty on your arm once you cover up my bruises and battle scars, but it always ends the same. Can't bear the things I've had to face. Got you crying on your knees in pain. Oh, some things never change, never change. Oh, you break your back to make me feel again. Suffocate to make me breathe again. Lose your mind from endless pain. Some things never change, never change. Oh, redemption never came. I stopped asking for forgiveness, cause you should know only fools tread where the angels fear to go, but you keep trying to get too close. Save myself by turning into stone. So save your judgment cause you just don't know. But some things never change, never change. Oh, they say I should feel guilty and change my ways, leaving crumpled bodies in my wake. Swear I didn't mean to make them break. Swear I didn't mean to make them break. But they're so delicate and so mundane, and they keep coming like a moth to a flame. Oh, some things never change, never change. You break your back to make me feel again. Suffocate to make me breathe again. Lose your mind from endless pain. Some things never change, never change. Oh, redemption never came.
You make me move, you make me dance, you make my heart beat super fast. You lift me up, you make me laugh. Baby, you're the best I ever had. You're the best I ever had. You're the best I ever had. Best I ever had. You're the best I ever had. Best I ever had. You're the best I ever had. You make my heart beat super fast. Super fast, super fast.
You make my heart beat super fast.
What does love feel like? What does love feel like? You're the best I ever had. You're the best I ever had. Best I ever had. You're the best I ever had. Best I ever had. You're the best I ever had. You make my heart beat super fast.
You make my heart beat, you make my heart beat, you make my heart beat super fast. You make my heart beat super fast.
slowly covering the light. Pull the trigger every night to stay alive. Hope is wishing, but you're running out of time. If I could only read your mind. Read your mind. If I could only read your mind.
All right, and thank you for staying tuned in. We have the second game of the series coming through right now. And to start it off, the blue side is going to be the Blossom team, and the red side is going to be the AOE single split team. We're going to see how this game gets underway. Last game, Blossom won. Looking at the ban phase, we have Kindred coming through for the side of Blossom. And again, Shaco coming through as a ban for the side of AOE single split. Graves and Silas ban. This looks like the bans from last game. What's going on here? Karma again coming through as a ban, solid ban, and they are going to put respect on the Gwen and go ahead and ban her out this game, so we will not see Gwen this game. Let's go ahead and see what their picks look like. We've got a York coming through top side into a Malphite. York is broken right now with the Hull Breaker, so I'm excited to see how this game goes. I think they'll probably bust that out, and we'll be able to see two tanks just duke it out in the top lane. And there's the Lee Sin pick. I'm excited for the Lee Sin in this game. They banned him out last game. And Rumble. Okay. Victor going to go mid along with the... Drum roll, please. The Nocturne again. So I really like the setup of what we're seeing here so far. I think the Rumble is a great jungler. His teamfight presence is awesome with his R, with his Q. But Lee Sin is a great skirmisher. He's great at taking ganks and making them work in the red team's favor. We are going to see the Leona and the Galio band go through. Those were both played last game, so a lot of respect going over to the supports and the mid. We see Nautilus getting banned out with the Lulu. Lulu is just broken on the hypercarry meta right now, so it's really nice to see that Lulu is going to get banned there. If you have a Lulu with somebody like a Jinx, a Tristana, a Vayne, the two of them can melt through an entire team. So it's very smart to ban out the Lulu there. We have Kai'Sa going into Ezreal. The Ezreal Divine Sunderer build lately has just been broken as can be. We have a set support coming through, and we will wait for the final pick to come through here for the side of AOE single split. And they're going to go with Thresh. So what we have here is we have a York, Rumble, Victor, Ezreal set going into a Malphite, Lee Sin, Nocturne, Kai'Sa, Thresh. If you're watching the game right now and watching the stream, let me know who you think won, blue side or red side. Blue side being Blossom, red side being AOE single split. I'd love to get your thoughts on how you think the draft went. If we're looking over it like we do every game, we're going to go ahead and break down all the lanes real quickly and break down the team fights as well before the game starts, because we do have a 3-minute delay for integrity purposes. Malphite and York. I think York is going to win the early game in my opinion, but then as soon as that Malphite starts getting stacked up with his items and starts becoming a tanky boy, it's going to be very hard to break through him, especially with the Bramble Vest on there. It'll start to give a little cutback, and you're going to have some issues getting through him. But I think early game I'm going to give it to Yorick, but for the team fight presence, I like the Malphite. Rumble versus Lee Sin. I think it's going to be a very similar situation. If they run into each other, I think the Lee Sin early game is going to melt through the Rumble. But as soon as that Rumble gets some items on him, he's going to light on fire anybody he runs into, and his team fight presence is just, it can't be understated in terms that are. Um, his ability to drop down and burn people, slow them down, especially if you get something like a Leandries or an Oblivion Orb or a Demonic Embrace on him, it will cut through people. The problem that I have is that Lee Sin's ult is also really great. You can just catch somebody, kick them out, and you've got a 4v5 now, and that does not go well for the side of the blue team if they get caught out in that position. Victor versus Nocturne. This is an interesting matchup. I've seen Nocturne played a lot mid, and I've seen him played a lot topside. I think that the Victor into Nocturne is a great way to try and counter him out. You've got the gravity field that you can use to try and keep him poked back. You've got your E that you can use to try and keep him poked back. You get your shield off your Q as well as an empowered poke. Like, I think there's a lot of different ways to keep the Nocturne at bay with the Victor, and I'm excited to see that come out. Looking at the bot lane, I like the set pick as a support. He's been really good as a support. We've seen him getting played a lot in the pro meta. The Divine Sunderer build on Ezreal is also really strong, but I feel like Kai'Sa overall is going to put out a lot of damage, especially if she gets out early. Those empowered Qs will do a lot, especially with like a Thresh on there where you can just keep somebody locked down between the hook, the push, and then you've got the R on there. There's a lot of ways to keep somebody in the area and stop them from getting away versus the set who really just has the pull there, right? Like, he has his R, it's not going to be understated in a team fight. So I think if you're looking at this, the red team wants to do front-to-back team fighting. They want to have the Malphite and the Thresh in front. They want to have a Lee Sin and the Nocturne try and get on the back line, and they want to have the Kai'Sa just continuing to pump out that damage. The blue team has a totally different strategy. The blue team has got one of Yorick as far away from anybody as possible, split pushing, getting objectives on the opposite side of the map, while the other four play around Drake, play around a turret, play around Baron. That's going to be the play that they try and make happen, I think. I'm excited for this game. Obviously, the blue team won last game, or rather, Blossom won last game when they were on red. They are now on blue. I'm excited to see how this game will unfold. But if I had to put my money on anybody right now, my money would be going on to the side of... I'm going to have to call it for the red team. Red team has, like I said, they have a lot of presence there. You've got the Malphite R, you've got the Kai'Sa Q, you've got the Paranoia, you've got the Lee Sin, who's very mobile, can get in, make things happen. I think the red team has a real chance of winning this game and tying up the series 1-1. So we're going to find out here in a moment. Let's look at some of the builds they have going on and some of the summer spells they took. That's always a fun little part of the game real quickly, is just to see what we're looking at. So we've got Flash Teleport topside, Flash Teleport mid, both ADCs with heal. We've got an Exhaust coming out on the side of Thresh, and we've got the Ignite coming out on the side of Set. So a little bit more kill pressure to the side of Blossom. That being said, if you get the Exhaust on the right person, it doesn't matter if you have Ignite or the extra damage. You'll be able to lock it down with just the pure output. So I'm excited to see how this game goes as we get loaded onto the Rift. Again, if you're in the comments, let me know who you think is going to win the match. I'd love to hear your thoughts. All right, and here we go as we get loaded into the map. We've got Grasp on Yorick, Dark Harvest on the Rumble, Phase Rush onto the Victor. Everything else looks pretty good across there. Let's get everything pulled up so everybody at home can see what we're looking at here. We got Challenge and Smite coming on to the Lee Sin, Chilling Smite going on to the Rumble. Looks like the Malphite is going to go with the Doran's Blade there. He may be going more of an AP build as opposed to a tanky build, but we'll see. Yorick has the Doran's Shield, and swap that for the other side. So you got, oh, little fight breaking out here on the top side. A little bit of damage coming onto the Yorick, a little bit of damage coming onto the Malphite. They're both going to back here, shake hands, and reset. And they're off to the races. Besides that, a pretty standard 5-point. The two top laners just decided they wanted to trade out a little bit and call it a day.
Minions have spawned.
And as we saw just a moment ago, the first Drake of the game is going to be a Cloud Drake. So that will be how this game gets started. And here we go, as mid will start to clash in the middle of the rift. And we've got Rumble starting on top side, Lee Sin starting on bot side, and this game is off to the races. And that Malphite poke coming out onto the Yorick. Looks like the Nocturne is in a position to get to level 2 here a little bit faster. We'll have to see how it plays out. Now they got there about the same time, so no true advantage is going to come out of mid lane. Level 2 coming on to the blue side here. Blossom finding themselves at a level 2 advantage in the bot lane, but they are quickly matched over by the AOE single split team. And so they're going to continue to just farm it out here in mid. We've got everything pretty even across the map at this point. The Fear coming down onto the Victor in mid. Turret shots going over to the Nocturne for following just a bit too deep to land that Fear. Was it worth it? We'll find out here in a little bit, but I don't think so. And there is the Yorick getting that damage onto the Malphite. And Malphite did go Comet, so it looks like he's going to be going more of that AP build, whereas the Yorick is going to go just a bit tankier between the grasp and everything. He does find himself outnumbered here as Lee Sin comes in to get the gank off. A lot of damage coming onto the Yorick from the Lee Sin. Trying to fight in the wave. Flashes away. Flash comes out of Malphite. The Q lands, and it will be a first blood over to Malphite. Now, we've got the side of AoE getting engaged on by the Rumble. Quite a bit of damage. He's able to knock off the Ezreal. And they will walk away from this without taking too much damage, thankfully. Had that been level 6, Rumble might have dropped his ult and a lot of damage would have come down, but we didn't see anything of that nature yet. Oh, they're going to try and do a dive here. The pull comes out of set, taking a couple turret shots, getting a lot of damage onto the Thresh. The Kai'Sa will fall to the burn of the Rumble. And that will be a kill being traded over to the side of Kai'Sa. So if we look over, Kai'Sa got 2 kills off that dive. Rumble got 2 kills. I don't know it was the most worthwhile dive, but it's something, right? Here comes the Lee Sin, gets the kick and lands it, but he is going to have to hop out of there because he was going to get stunned up under turret. A lot of damage coming onto the Malphite here from the little creeps. All right, let's do a quick state of the map check-in real quickly. Everything pretty even across the board for the most part. Gold is a little in favor of the red side as they have an additional kill up on the blue side. So that is the AoE single split up about 1 kill's worth of gold, maybe a little bit more from the CS. And we have a game pause going on. We're going to try and find out what's going on here. So it looks like the mid lane on the side of AOE single split is having a little trouble here. And we're kind of waiting to see what's going on here. I don't have a whole lot of information. I apologize. Something is going on with the mid for the red team, so the Nocturne is having some issues here. The game is paused. While we're in pause, let's go ahead and take a look at everything that we have going on here. We've got everything pretty even across the map in terms of CS, except for the Lee Sin being down about 10 CS and 2 kills to the Rumble, which is not a great start for him. The Rumble finds himself up with the Sork boots to get that roaming potential gank off, as well as an amplifying tube, so he is cutting through people. The Dirk is going to go on to the Kaisa there, whereas Ezreal is just going to be coming back with a Tear and a longsword. So it feels like the red team is doing what they need to do, right? They're making it work. The pause has come off. There we go. Now, keep in mind the game will freeze for a small moment here in just a minute because of the pause, and I apologize about that delay that's going to happen there. But we are in a position right now, there it is. We are in a position right now where Kaisa's getting kind of up there. She's already got her Dirk. If she gets, those 2 more, the pickaxe and the Noon Quiver, she finds herself in a position where her Q's are already empowered before the first item's completed, and she's going to be doing quite a bit of damage with those empowered Q's. But you've also got the Rumble, who's got 2 kills off the bot play dive earlier, and he could be in a position where in a team fight he can melt through people too between his Q and his R. So it's really going to come down to how these teams decide to play it out and what kind of decisions they make. You don't have a lot of AP damage on the side of AOE single split. There's quite a bit of AP damage coming out of that Rumble versus the Malphite. So we're going to have to wait and see how that all unfolds. And we've got some damage coming down onto the Thresh. He goes ahead and hops away, and it looks like the Lee Sin is going to prioritize that early Cloud Drake, and the red team is going to go ahead and get in on it. Blue team very aware of what's going on, the Rumble in the area, and they're going to match over and try and make something happen. The Thresh comes in, the Paranoia lands. Rumble taking quite a bit of damage, and he is going to fall down to the Nocturne. The red team is able to lock up the Drake, and we have a 4v3 brewing in the bot lane. Ezreal is able to secure the kill onto the Nocturne. We now got 3v2 chasing them down throughout here. There goes the Lee Sin following it up, and Ezreal is going to get chased down, taking quite a bit of damage here. They may stay in the area and try a dive, but now Nocturne coming in, Victor coming in to clean up, flashes over to get the kill. His ult comes down. A lot of damage coming on to the Kaisa. He's going to try and run under turret here. And there's the Ezreal coming in to output some damage. Meanwhile, Yorick going into Malphite. This whole map is exploding with fights across the board, everybody. We've got ganks going on bot side, fights going on top side, dragons falling, and everybody is getting caught up in the mix. Okay, and so it looks like things have reset a little bit. Blue Wave going to be crashing into the red turret here pretty heavily on the side of Blossom. Malphite going to do what he can to catch some of that. Oh, here's a little fight breaking out in the mid lane. A lot of damage coming from the Nocturne onto the Victor, and he is able to secure the kill onto the Victor. Meanwhile, Yorick is able to get the kill on the Malphite with the help of the Rumble, and there's going to be a lot of damage coming out onto this turret. They're getting plate after plate here, and Yorick is going to get bigger and bigger. This is a very back and forth game. 1 kill separates the team. Very even game state so far. Again, you've got 2 kills on the Nocturne, 2 kills on the Kaisa, 2 kills on the Rumble, and the splattering of kills across the rest of the blue team. So Blossom is doing a very good job here, but you've got the red team doing what they came to do, right? They lost the first series. Now they're over on red side. They need to say something here, and they're going to do it right now by getting those kills, by outplaying that game, by starting the first Drake. They're controlling the map. They're controlling the tempo, and that's what they've got to do in this scenario. And it looks like we've got Rumble in the area getting ready to start up the Rift Herald. However, we also see that he is going to be joined by the Lee Sin from the enemy team, and there's a fight brewing. 4v3 as Malphite gets caught with the hook. As Rumble gets caught with the hook from the Thresh. A lot of damage coming out onto the red team now. They were able to blow him up, but it's going to be a 1-for-1 onto the Nocturne. A 3v3, and the red team finds themselves very low in terms of health with the Set and the Yorick chasing behind. Yorick is able to get off the flash and gets the engage onto the Malphite. The Thresh will fall. That's the kill onto the Lee Sin from the Victor, and you're going to see Yorick go over, clean out some vision, and they may start to rotate over and get the Rift Herald. The Malphite did engage with his R there to try and keep some distance between the blue team and the rest of his team, but he was not able to do it. He was just able to get a little damage out and then run away. We are going to see Maiden, Yorick, Set, and Victor melt this Rift down, and the first Rift Herald is going to go over to the side of Blossom. Blossom up about 1,000 gold at this point. That team fight gave them the turnaround that they needed to stay in this. Meanwhile, red team isn't out of this. AOE single split can very easily start to make this work for them, as the ADCs are getting single solo XP and solo gold here in the bot lane. That's going to help them grow quick and strong. Yorick finding himself taking a lot of damage from the Malphite. Even though he's up a level, he is down quite a bit of health. Rumble may be trying to go in for the gank on Kai'Sa, but finds himself outnumbered there with the Thresh and the Lee Sin joining the fight, and so they are just going to walk that away. Lee Sin potentially going for an invade here on the Rumble. He's going to get spotted out. There it is, and now he's walking over towards the Victor. The flash, the kick comes out, the fear goes down, and the Rumble ult goes down and actually locks down the Victor kill. He is able to turn that game around, and now Rumble is able to lock down 2 kills on the mid lane between the Lee Sin and the Nocturne, and that is going to be a 2-for-1 trade in favor of the blue team Blossom. We see that gold lead now going up about a 1.5 thousand gold lead, so we've really got the red team here that's needing to set the pace. They find themselves a little disadvantaged in some of the fights, playing up a bit too far or playing too weak, and so here we go with the Rift Herald top side. We're going to see the top turret falling at 11 minutes already. That's not great for the side of AOE single split. Yorick is going to go ahead and get out of there. He's not going to make sure that thing gets off a second charge at this point. But we are going to see it go through. Hi, Sean. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know how you like the game so far. Right now, we've got a game state that is very favorable for the blue team, but red again is going to put some pressure onto the Drake here. Ezreal ult comes out, tries to catch some vision and some damage on him. Now you've got the red team falling behind a little bit, getting chunked out. A lot of damage going onto the Thresh, and he will fall. It is a 4v4. Yorick now joining the fight, making it a 5v4. A lot of damage coming out onto the side of the blue team where Kai'Sa and Nocturne are able to lock up the kill. The blue team is able to steal the Drake away. Now we've got the Lee Sin falling over to the Victor. The Nocturne trying to get a kill onto the Victor, and he's able to do so, but he's taking a lot of damage, barely gets away. Kai'Sa now running away from the Yorick. Yorick full health. Kai'Sa barely has any left. Misses the slow, but gets the empowered Q auto and will die. We've got Rumble in the area trying to lock down the Nocturne, but that was a absolute fiesta. And we still have the Rumble in the area. He might just drop his ult here if it's available in just a second. It's going to be available here shortly. He's taking a couple turret shots, not afraid, keeping vision, is able to lock down the kill on the Nocturne. That was overall, I believe, a 4-for-2 or a 4-for-3 trade out. Lee Sin and Thresh going in heavy here, trying to trade back some damage onto the Rumble. The Set's there to help him out, and Set was able to absorb some of that damage for the Rumble and get them out of there. The Rumble is starting to absolutely melt through people. With the Night Harvester completed and the Sork Boots, he is going to be doing quite a bit of damage in the team fights now. Ezreal and Set rotating topside, Yorick rotating to the bot along to match the Malphite. And we've got Kai'Sa in the mid lane fighting against the Victor. with the Nocturne and the Thresh roaming top side, and Lee Sin working in the area as well. So we'll have to see where the next fight breaks out. We've got about 3.5 minutes until Dragon's up. We've got 2 minutes until the Rift Herald's up. So we're just going to see some pure, good old-fashioned team fighting coming out if we see anything break out. And there's Thresh taking a little damage from the Ezreal. Gets caught out on the vision there. Now we've got a fight breaking out outside. A lot of damage coming out on the Yorick. The Malphite R comes out. A lot of damage going on to the Kai'Sa. She's going to get ticked away for a lot of damage. The R... and ooh! The Kai'Sa does get killed by that Victor E as it comes out. The Malphite barely able to escape with his life. It was a good fight in their favor until the Rumble joined in. And now we've got 3 members of red, 3 members of blue here. Set ult comes out, crashes into the Nocturne and the Thresh. The Thresh ult will come out trying to slow down the 4-man team here. Barely catches the end of the Lee Sin with his E. Set will hover in the area. And we've got a 3-man mid marching down on the side of Blossom towards this AOE single split mid turret. And they're going to do a hell of a lot of damage to this thing. It's very likely going to fall, giving them their second turret of the game. There it is. 2 turrets in favor of Blossom. AOE single split now on the back foot for the second time in the series. Down about 4,000 gold. They were down about 10,000 gold this time last game. So they're doing a great job of controlling the pace in comparison to what they were doing. But they still got to find a way to come back in this and win some fights. That Lee Sin is just not cutting through the Rumble. The Rumble is melting through the enemy red team during these team fights between his R and his Q there. So there's got to be an answer for that Rumble somewhere, whether you're building magic resist, whether you're focusing on getting onto him and blowing him up between the Nocturne and the Lee Sin. They've got to come up with an answer here for this Rumble in the team fights, otherwise they're going to find themselves at a continued disadvantage throughout the rest of the game. Nocturne and Yorick now playing it out in the bottom lane as Yorick wants to continue to just push on this bot lane. Like I said, he does not want to be near the rest of the team at all. His first item has come through. He has gotten the Divine Sunderer. He has also completed a Tiamat, so I'm interested to see what build he's going to go. Hullbreaker may be in store for him as well, but with that Grass proc and the Empowered Q, he is going to knock down the 3rd turret in favor of the Blossom team, and that will be all outers falling for the side of AOE single split. Set now getting engaged on, or at least maybe trying to engage. Teleport coming through from the Yorick. Smite comes down for the Lee Sin. He's able to get the Rift Herald, but now Paranoia comes down from the Nocturne. A lot of damage coming out onto the Thresh. Thresh and Lee Sin will fall to the side of Blossom. And there is now a 5-man advantage over the 3-man red team as they will try and hold mid, but it looks like the rest of them are going to march down mid or run over to Drake as it is going to be spawning here in about 15 seconds. Yorick putting a lot of pressure on that tier 2 mid turret, trying to make things happen. Already at half health. The Malphite trying to go in on him, lands the Q, lands the empowered autos. A lot of damage coming on to the Maiden now. He's got to hope that that doesn't die, trying to get it out of there. Stops it from going through, and you've got 4 members answering back mid to try and say, no thank you don't get our mid turret today. That being said, you will take Dragon, and it'll be your second one of the game. Infernal Soul across the map. Not what you want to see get stacked onto a Rumble, onto a Victor. So this is going to continue to snowball in favor of the team Blossom. Now let's do a quick check-in to see what the state of the map is real quickly. We've got Yorick with 5 kills, Malphite with 1, quite equal in CS, but if we look at the gold real quickly, it's a big advantage for the Yorick. He's up almost 2,500 gold, almost 3,000. Again, we have the Lee Sin and we have the Rumble. Rumble is doing a great job in these team fights between his R and his Q utilization when they're having these fights. He's doing a great job of putting out damage. I'd love to see the damage charts after the game, but I can tell you right now he's up in gold about 2,000. Victor, 6 kills onto the board. Nocturne only got 4. CS in favor of the Nocturne, but gold definitely in favor of the Victor by about 500 or so. And then you've got the bot lane, which is relatively equal, only about A total of 0 difference between all of bot lane. Kai'Sa's up about 600, but the set is up about 700 over the Thresh. I'm not sure if that's where you want the gold, but we'll find out. Either way, it's a relatively even state for the bottom half. It's the top half that you got to worry about. Set coming in for the engage flashes, try to get the pull. He misses onto the Nocturne. He misses onto the Thresh. The Thresh flashes away to get out of there. And the Thresh trying to clear vision, but taking a lot of damage in the meantime. Hex Flash comes over. The ult comes out. The sidestep from the Thresh, he's able to survive that, and that puts the blue team in a favorable position as Thresh is going to get chunked out quite a bit there. They're rotating topside. We're not going to see Baron here for another minute, though, so they may just want to reset and try and get themselves into a position where they're able to defend or push. Yorick, meanwhile, in the bot lane just doing things. Crashing that in there, distracting Malphite, and putting the... We see a lot of red members hovering around this mid turret. What's going to happen here? They've got 3 red members. The hook comes out, misses. Lee Sin kicks the Rumble out, taking a little bit of damage. The Lantern comes down. It's a 5v3 here in the mid lane. Set dives into the back lane, and there's a lot of damage coming down here. Nocturne going in on the Paranoia to try and get that Rumble. He's working on it. He's going to barely miss it. He falls to the set. And then the damage from Kai'Sa coming out onto the Rumble finally. That is a 4-for-2 trade, not what the red team wants to see. Kai'Sa barely alive in the mid lane. The ult comes out. Are we going to see it get the kill? No, she's going to stay alive, but Yorick is knocking at the front door, taking that bot lane inhib. The tier 2 turret mid falls to the Ezreal in the set, working their way up. And it looks like the Rift Herald had to be dropped in base, unfortunately. A lot of damage coming on to the... A lot of damage is coming on to the Lee Sin here. He tried to get the engage on the Yorick, slow him down so the Thresh and the Kai'Sa could join the fight, but not much is going to come of it. Blue team is not able to defend their turret as the last of the Rift Heralds will fall onto the map. It was able to make a charge through and get to the mid, which is unfortunate for the blue team because they knew that was coming for quite a while. Blue team pinging, they want to make some action happen in the top area. You've got Victor, Yorick, Rumble, and Set pretty deep into the enemy jungle here. The Ezreal looks like he's going to go catch some waveage in the bot lane or maybe go take some of the jungle. So we'll have to see how this all shakes out. Right now, nothing too crazy going on, but Dragon is going to be spawning in about 30 seconds. This could be the soul point that... this could be the Drake that Blossom needs to get on Soul Point, or it could be the Drake that the red team AOE single split needs just to maintain some of the pacing. The hook lands onto the Ezreal. He's able to get back there from the Thresh. The Rumble R comes out, and a lot of damage coming down onto the red team. Ezreal ult comes out, hits all 4 members that are in the area. Malphite comes out. You've got the Lee Sin trying to get out back there, but a Yorick teleport is coming through. A lot of damage coming onto the Kai'Sa. A lot of damage coming onto the Lee Sin. Victor is able to get the triple kill there, and blue team finds themselves at a man advantage at Drake. They're going to melt this one down, and that is going to be Soul Point that they sit on as they wait for one more Drake to spawn before Infernal Soul is theirs. They are rotating straight over to Baron, it looks like. Nocturne, the only one left on the map right now that can do anything, and the only thing he can do is defend. And Yorick getting this thing started. Quite a bit of damage coming out onto the Baron. Rumble going ahead and using his ult there, melting it down, and that will be a Baron in favor of the Rumble. And so blue team finds themselves with the Baron buff. Red team finds themselves with 3 inhibs. That's a good place to be, right? No, they do find themselves in a position where they've got to try and get to the Rumble. They were doing a good job of trying to make that happen, and Nocturne was almost able to kill him in one of the team fights earlier, but unfortunately they were not able to lock the kill down. Rumble was still able to put out a bunch of damage. Kaisa ended up killing him afterwards, but by then it was too late. Thresh finding himself out of position here, taking a lot of damage from the Rumble and a lot of damage from the set. He is going to ultimately fall over to the Victor, and the Victor is going to get a double kill on from the Kaisa. Nocturne did a paranoia into a 4-man group. That probably wasn't the best idea, and he's going to fall to the Ezreal. That is 3 kills going over the side of Blossom. Set looking around, trying to get eyes onto the Lee Sin. Lee Sin caught out of position, but Blast Cone's over. He takes quite a bit of damage still. Now you've got Malphite taking damage. They are just going to charge him under turret. There's no fear about what this turret can do when you've got 5 men there that can just blow it down. So, Lee Sin and Malphite are going to have to try and defend here. You've got the blue team Blossom charging with all 4 members, all 5 members in the base, 4 mid and 1 top side. The inhibs are falling down. First the mid, now the top side. Red trying to answer back, make something happen. They are able to get the kill onto the Victor through the Kaisa. It's 4v4 right now, considering Nocturne's still down, but he finds himself back in the fight. And it looks like Thresh might be in a bit of a pickle here. They're trying to run away. Set dives him into the area, and he's able to lock down the kill onto the Kaisa. The Ezreal gets a double kill onto the Malphite and to the Thresh, and you have just Nocturne and Lee Sin again trying to defend the base. Paranoia comes out, but it's not going to do much good. A lot of damage coming out onto the Nexus, trying to output some of the fight, but unfortunately, AOE single split is going to fall to the side of Team Blossom. Stay tuned for the last game of the series. Thank you very much for watching, and we're excited to have you here.
Freaking a drum. Daytime better come correct. Ain't playing at your best, then you will get left. If it don't involve money, then I don't accept. If it don't involve money, then I don't accept. Something like this. Daytime better come correct. Ain't playing at your best, then you will get left. If it don't involve money, then I don't accept. If it don't involve money, then I don't accept. It's all about humanity. About humanity. 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 It's all about humanity.
If we are one grain of sand in the middle of the ocean, can you try to understand how a touch can cause explosions? Rise up, we're too great to be landed. Rise up, we're too great to be standing.
They never gonna stop us, fly by them like choppers, better cook those risks, cold blood in my fists, we fire starters, one out of a million marine show sights, always in the field and then I won't deny that one, never could toss, look in my eyes, I'm on the rocks.
All right, thank you very much for tuning in. This is our last game of the series between Blossom and AOE Single Split. AOE Single Split is going to be on the blue side, and Blossom is going to be on the red side. This series is currently 2-0 in favor of Blossom. So we will see how this game gets underway. We have a Shaco ban coming through, a Gwen ban, and it looks like a Yorick ban, so they don't want to see the Yorick just abusing the lane like he was last time. Graves will be banned as well. This will be the third game we have a ban coming through for Silas, for Shaco, and for Graves. We'll see where this next ban goes to, and it's a Kindred ban. That'll be the third one we have for them as well. And we are going to get to see Lulu picked this game. Lulu is a great hyper carry support. It looks like she may be going top lane. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but we'll have to see. We've got a Volibear and a Xin Zhao, so I'm assuming Volibear will be going top lane into the into the Lulu potentially. We've got Xin Zhao versus Nocturne. And we've got a Corki going into... Let's see, give him a couple moments here. I'm excited to see Corki. You don't see Corki played a lot, but now we've got a Karma coming through, so each team picking their support either relatively early or some interesting lane choices going on. The Nautilus ban is going to come through for the side of Blossom. AOE single splits next ban is going to come through here any moment now. Taking it down to the wire, it looks like. Leona is going to be the ban there. There's the Galio ban coming through. And the Akali ban is going to come through. So a couple champions that we've seen in the previous games this series have been Galio, Gwen, Yorick, Leona, and Akali. So a lot of respect coming out from the other teams in terms of the ADCs. Last game we had the exact same setup, Kai'Sa and Ezreal. So excited to see those two back into the games. The Divine Sunder on Ezreal is just very strong. We'll have to see what picks come through here. I'm not sure if the Lulu and the Karma are going to be going support or if they're going to be going for more of lane picks. There comes the set again. I mean, he could be flex top, but he could also be a support, so we'll have to see how that goes through. And there's the Rakan. So it looks like it is going to be a set going into the top side Volibear. The Lulu is going to be going into the Rakan. The Karma is going to be going into the Corki. And this is going to be our final match of the series. If you're in the game, let me know. Or not in the game. If you're in the stream, let me know who you think won the draft. We've got AOE single split with a set Nocturne, Corki, Ezreal, and Lulu, versus the Blossom team with Volibear, Xin Zhao, Karma, Kai'Sa, and Rakan. If I had to give my honest bet or my honest guess, I kind of like the double ADC build with Corki over there and Ezreal, so I'm a little excited to see how that Lulu is going to pair with both of them. I think that could be huge, especially with the Lulu R in team fights. Pop it on the Nocturne perhaps, or the set. And you've got quite a wombo combo there. On the flip side, though, you've also got a Volibear who does it to himself and can blow up a fight. You've got the Xin Zhao, who's coming out with a lot of burst damage. But then you've also got the Rakan and the Karma. The double support setup could be very advantageous for the red team here. Karma has a lot of poke in lane. She has a lot of team fight potential. between her empowered E and her empowered Q to either melt down some people or give them a nice little speed boost to get out, disengage, or engage if they need to. If you pair that with a Rakan who's going to go in there and charm everybody, and along with his knockups, there's a lot of damage output, or at least a lot of CC that can be brought into that fight. So we're going to have to see how it all unfolds, but I'm excited for the matches. If we're looking at the lanes, Set into Volibear, I think that's a relatively equal matchup. I think Set may have a little bit of an advantage with his W there, but outside of that, I expect the top lanes to go relatively even. With Nocturne and Zenzao, again, I think that's a relatively even matchup. Nocturne is probably going to have a little bit easier time with some of the fights just because of the ability onset between the fear and the paranoia that he can break down, but his gank potential cannot be underestimated in any of the fights. Karma and Corki, that's going to be an interesting one. I'm excited to see how that one all breaks down and said and told, because you've got Karma, who's normally a support, but we've seen in lane a lot, especially in the LCS. We've seen Karma going top quite a bit. She offers a lot of dynamic potential, but you've also got the Corki who's going to do the exact same thing. He is going to melt through people, and with his special package, he's able to go ahead and, drop that down on people and get a lot of damage out of that. So we're going to have to see how that all rolls out. I don't love the Lulu with the Ezreal. I won't lie. That's a personal choice. I like to see the Lulu combined more with something like a Vayne, a Jinx, a Tristana, a little bit more of your hyper carries, your scaling late gamers, that kind of thing. I feel like Ezreal's a great pick, but I feel like you want a Karma with an Ezreal or something like that where you're able to get more of a poke lane. Maybe even a Brand or a Swain would be nice, just because those are the kind of lanes you want to play that with. So I'm excited to see how this all works out in the long run. But the game is going to be starting here in about 30 seconds, so stay tuned and we will get into the load-in screen and see what summoner spells and abilities and runes have been taken. All right, and as we load in, we're going to see pretty standard across the board. Teleports coming through on top and mid. The exhaust on Ezreal, the heal on Lulu. And we're going to see Ignite on Rakan and the heal on Kai'Sa. Nothing too crazy besides that. Yeah, everything else looks pretty normal. So we'll have to see how this game gets underway. But I'm excited for this game. It's a little bit different build than what we've seen. We saw the Set flexed over to the support role last game. So here we go. All right. And the summoners are loading onto the Rift right now. As we see them start to spawn, we will get the game underway. Challenging smite going on both of our junglers. Karma, having not bought anything yet, might have a little bit of a DC connection issue there. We've got the Doran's Blade on the side of Volibear, not the Doran's Shield, which is interesting. Call on the Corki. And everything else looks pretty straightforward. The Karma coming in now with the Doran's Ring.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
And everybody's going to 5-point out across the board. Nothing too crazy. I think the most interesting matchup in this game so far, or that I'm looking forward to the most, is going to be the Corki and the Rakan. I think that's going to be quite an interesting little fight that we see break out in the mid. I'm interested for the gank potential between the Karma with the empowered stun that she has. So I want to see that come out a little bit. But ultimately, this is going to be a banger of a game 3. Remember, Blossom is up 2-0 right now. That is the side of red side. AOE single split would need to win this game in order to put it at a 2-1 series. And there's a little empowered Q coming out from the Karma to keep that Corki at bay. And this game is officially underway. And again, a lot of damage coming out onto that Corki early game. Not something that you want to see early if you're the Corki. It's going to be a little bit hard to CS early and step up to challenge some of that at this point. All she has to do is keep landing her Qs, especially if you're missing your abilities like that. That's no good. She's going in heavy. She's not scared of it at all. Aerie doing a lot of damage. The auto's coming out, and he is almost down to below a quarter health. He has a lot of trouble stepping up at this point. The recon engage on the bot side, nothing comes of it. Very little damage traded over. Does put the red team in a slightly unfavorable position. But I don't think we're going to have to worry about the junglers coming down their way for a moment. Knockup comes through, lands on nothing, and darts right back out of there. Volibear chasing the set off the wave. He gets the pull onto him, doing a little bit of damage, but that's more coming out onto the side of Set. He is not able to sustain through that fight and takes quite a bit of damage on from the Volibear. The Karma, meanwhile, is just bullying the Corki in the mid lane, up a little bit of CS, up quite a bit of health at this point, and mana. So we'll have to see how everything shakes out. She is now up almost an entire wave on the Corki. And this red team just taking quite a bit of damage in the bot lane. They're trying to survive and sustain through it, but they are just getting poked out between the Karma and between the Ezreal and the Lulu. Red side gets level 3 early. The knockup comes through. He's able to get out of there. Ezreal taking almost no damage from that. However, the recon takes quite a bit. We've got pings coming out top side. It looks like Karma is going to be able to make sure they have Prio, and Volibear make sure they have Prio. Jungle is going to go ahead. Nocturne is going to go ahead and back out of the jungle, and that is going to be potentially a double scuttle over to the side of red team here. It looks like they're all roaming to get that second scuttle right now. The pull comes in from Set onto the Volibear. Little damage traded over in favor of both of them. And this Karma's playing very well so far. Finds herself still up in CS. Neither one of them is backed, but the poor Corki is starting to lose the mana and the poke game at this point. A lot of damage coming out on the Kai'Sa in this bot lane fight turning out here. And the side of AOE Split is going to go ahead and crash this wave in. Ping's coming out, tracking that jungler around very well. All right, let's do a quick check-in. We've got set up about 2 CS, so everything's fairly even there. The The jungles are also fairly even. The Karma is up now 10 CS, and there's a fight breaking out topside. Set taking quite a bit of damage from the Volibear. Volibear trying to cut him off. The pull comes in, trying to trade it back, but the Volibear is going to find himself hitting level 6 before the set. Nocturne is hovering in the area, though. They're hoping to get a turret dive out of this and turn this fight around for the side of the blue team. Karma landing a lot of damage onto this Corki. He's taking quite a few hits, trying to pick up some of that CS, and is barely going to escape with his life as R comes out and knocks down Karma just a little bit there too. Nocturne going to back from the top side, or he was going to back from the top side. It now looks like he is going to go grab Scuttle real quickly. And Xin Zhao shows on vision before he clears it and is now going to move over towards the Drake and get that started. This is a Cloud Drake, the first Drake of many, hopefully, that we'll see. And that will be the Cloud Drake going over to the red team, Team Blossom. And right now we've got a bit of a standstill in the game. Not too much is going on. Set finds himself up about a full wave or so, maybe a little more, from the Volibear. Everything's tied mid lane again. The Xin Zhao's up a little bit, and the Ezreal's up a little bit. So far, though, the gold lead is only 500 in favor of AOE single split. And there's no first blood given over yet as we go into the 8-minute mark of the game. At this point, both teams had given over first blood last two games of the series, so I'm kind of excited that they're both playing smart, respecting each other, and trying to have a little bit more, have a little bit more. Trying to clear out that pink ward, but gets caught out with some of the damage from the R and isn't going to get anything out of it. And a nice big wave building up here on the side of AOE single split. I'm going to try and crash that in, but it looks like the Volibear is going to say no thanks. Nocturne ult and the charm come out. He gets the knock up. The Lulu ult comes out on Lulu herself. The Ezreal ult going to fire back at the red team. Set finds himself in an unfavorable position against the Xin Zhao and the Volibear, but now we've got Corki and Nocturne in the area. First blood goes over to Corki as he's able to take down the set. As he's able to take down the Volibear. Xin Zhao takes down the set. And both the mid and the jungler kind of walk away from that fight having a 1-for-1 trade. First blood does go over to the side of AOE single split. A lot of damage coming out onto the Corki, but he's able to skirt away with his life. Knockup comes out, but is not going to hit. The Ezreal is able to get out of there because he is such a slippery ADC. And here we have the red team working on the Rift Herald. And the Rift Herald will go over to the side of Blossom. AOE single split still has a gold lead of about 1,000 at this point. And the bot lanes are going to respectfully back here. We've got a little fight brewing in the top side. Set getting a little bit of damage onto the Volibear. Volibear not able to trade it back out and finds himself about 2/3 of his health. And now he's trading it back onto the Set, who's at about half health. These two are just continuing to farm it out, trading blows onto each other so far. And we'll have to see if anything comes of this, but it looks like, and I could be wrong here, they're just going to let it all kind of just happen naturally. Karma's still up about a wave. Set up almost 30 CS over the Volibear. The Volibear is not feeling good about how that's going so far. Everything else relatively equal, about a 10 CS difference in the bot lane. Nocturne in the area, getting some damage onto the Karma. She has to flash away from the fear to make sure she isn't stunned up there for quite a while. The ult coming out from Ezreal, laying some additional damage onto the team. And with the dragon spawning in 20 seconds, there's about 4 members from each team in the bot side river area that we're going to have to see how this works out. Nocturne dropping the paranoia. And Rift Herald getting dropped bot side to give a little pressure so the red team can try and answer back and get the second Drake of the game. And there they go. They're going to start melting it down as Ezreal and Lulu are forced to answer this Rift Herald in the bot lane. And that's going to be the second drag that goes over to the red team. It looks like the soul is going to be a mountain soul, so very excited to see a mountain soul on here and how that'll engage, how that will work on the team fights. Unlucky there for the Rakan, who's taking a lot of poke out of that Ezreal. And that is Ezreal solo in the lane. It looks like the Lulu had to back there, but he stayed there to catch some of that gold, and he's going to get solo XP for it. Volibear and Set continuing just to trade out here in the top lane. Not a whole lot going on for them. And there's the Rakan walking into another Q from the Ezreal. All right, and we have nothing too exciting going on the map right now. No objectives up for another 2.5 minutes. Volibear still down about 30 CS to the set. Everything equal mid. The gold lead starting to go in favor of the Ezreal on the bot side. And Xin Zhao has a pretty good lead over the Nocturne. So again, the state of the game, nothing too crazy, only up about 1.5 thousand gold at 15 minutes in favor of AOE single split. The Ezreal ult coming out. Tried to get down the Kai'Sa, but she didn't die. Just took a little bit more damage. Nocturne hovering in the area. And there's the Nocturne ult coming down. Lands the Fear onto the Kai'Sa. A lot of damage coming out, and he is able to kill the Kai'Sa. It is a 4v3 in this bot lane fight that we see breaking out. Xin Zhao trying to disengage. Got the Volibear going in and out here. And first turret will go over to the side of AOE single split as they are able to lock down the bot side turret in their favor. quick check in on the gold. About a 500 gold lead over to the set. Everything's pretty even in the jungle. We've got about 1,000 gold over in favor of the Corki. Fight breaking out top side. Xin Zhao's in the area as well. We'll have to see what comes of it. Nothing is going to happen as far as they are concerned. Set's going to pick up the rest of the CS and just kind of hang out in the area. Meanwhile, Xin Zhao and Volibear both spotted off of a Scryer's Bloom. The second rift is being worked on right now by the blue team, but several of the red team's members show up into the area. Single split is going to be taking the ult onto these Rakan, and the kill is going to get locked up by the set. Now they're turning the fight over onto the Xin Zhao. He's not able to survive. The Volibear has to flash away. The Nocturne ult comes out, lands on the Karma. A lot of damage coming through for her. She's under the turret. She's not going to survive, and she falls to the Nocturne. A couple turret shots coming out. But the Kaisa is just barely able to get away with her life, and that is a 3-for-0 trade in favor of AOE single split, putting them at a 4,000 gold lead so far. This is what they needed to do, and this is the team comp to do it with. They're going to go ahead and head on over to Dragon with Mountain Dragon having spawned. That thing's at half health, and they're just going to keep working on it. And they secure it. That puts them at their first Drake of the game. They have an opportunity to stack four Mountain Drakes and have a lot of tankiness going into these fights. With their team comp, that would be great since you have a lot of damage output from the Nocturne, the Corki, from the Ezreal. You've got a squishy Lulu, and let's not lie, Set isn't the tankiest thing in the world. So having a Mountain Soul stacked up for heavy on their side would be great for their team fight potential and give them a lot of peel from that ability, from that Drake. AOE single split also find themselves up 2 turrets to none. They have managed to knock down the mid and the bottom tier 1 turrets. We've got quite a few people hanging out in the top side as Rift Herald is up for about another 40 seconds or so, unless it's in combat, but you've got the Rakan getting engaged on now by the Lulu. Nocturne's in the area, and he is going to start working on the Rift Herald. Kaisa is going to have to back out, and the rest of the team is going to say no thanks, no contest to the Rift. They're going to try and chunk this thing down. They've got about 45 seconds or so to go ahead and kill the Rift Herald, and it looks like they are just going to be able to do that. And that will go on the side of Nocturne. Quite a bit of damage coming out here from the Volibear and from the set. Corki special package comes through. Nocturne is able to use his paranoia, drop down the fear, and they will get the kill on Volibear. Rakan runs into the Lulu. Neither one of them really wants to fight. The knockup misses. The polymorph comes through. Ultimate comes through for Lulu, is able to get a knockup onto the Rakan. They're going to turn around the fight, and now there are 4 members versus 3 in this. Well, there were 4 members versus 3 in this fight before everybody started to walk away. This will be the 3rd turret in favor of AOE single split, and that's going to be the last outer turret that was standing for Team Blossom. And Baron having now spawned on the map, the Mountain Drake is going to be up in about 2 minutes or so. I would expect the teams to be vying for control over mid and bot side to give themselves a little prio. However, we see the bot lane roaming up towards Baron. They may want to go ahead and try and make a push for it. Rakan getting caught out here, taking a little bit of damage from the Ezreal. And the knockout comes out onto the Ezreal from the Rakan. He's able to flash away. Teleport coming in And there is a lot of damage going through. The set now joins the fight, but not before Lulu and Rakan both fall to Corki and Ezreal. We now see that there is a set ult coming onto the Kai'Sa. The Nocturne ult comes through and he's able to get the kill onto Kai'Sa. Volibear taking a lot of damage, but he is able to get the kill on Corki before he falls to the set. It's a 3v2 here in the top river. A lot of damage coming out, and it's now a 2v2. The Xin Zhao was able to lock up the kill onto the Ezreal, but it is going to be a 5-man ace in favor of the blue team. AOE single split is able to lock up 5 kills and only lose 3 members in the fight. The Nocturne and the Set are going to find themselves with their lives still intact. Meanwhile, the Herald is working its way bot and will get a charge off onto the bot lane and is able to knock it down a little bit. Rakan going to match it, see if he can stop it before the turret falls, but he is not able to do so. That bot turret tier 2 will fall to the Rift Herald. This game has been a lot of back and forth at this point, but it is more going back than forth for the Blossom team. Yes, that is the red side. They find themselves down almost 7,000 gold at 22 minutes. They have no turrets, and they're up only 1 Drake at this point. And the next Drake is going to be spawning here in a couple seconds, and we've got blue side already in position. There's a fight breaking out mid. The Nocturne ult comes through after the Ezreal knockup comes through. Red team taking out a lot of damage. Karma and Rakan getting poked out. Corki's able to get the kill onto the Rakan. Nocturne able to get the kill onto the Lee Sin. Ezreal is able to lock up the kill onto the Volibear, and that is a 4-man trade in favor of the blue team. They are going to say, screw Dragon, let's go for Baron. Meanwhile, Corki is going to make his way towards the Dragon and go ahead and secure that. Says, I'm not needed at Baron. You guys can melt it quick enough, which they can, and they are. You've got 10 seconds left or so until the Xin Zhao is on the field, but it's not going to matter much. Nothing's going to come through, and that is going to be blue team securing the Baron, and blue team about ready to secure the Drake. And that is going to be their second Mountain Drake of the game. They are going to become a very tough team to deal with if they get all 4 of those stacked up. And Set's going to keep the pressure in that top wave, try and keep everybody in that area and use the empowered Baron buff to make them things happen. Meanwhile, it looks like everybody else is going to be running bot or mid to try and get a little bit of objectives off the map. The Set goes in onto the Xin Zhao, uses his ult. He's taking quite a bit of damage himself. He drops the W, but nothing comes of it. Now you've got Kai'Sa entering the fighter. Q comes down. A lot of damage onto the Set. He's still alive somehow. He tries to trade out the kill onto the Kai'Sa, but she is able to get away with her life, and that is Set falling. However, in return, they are going to get that tier 2 turret mid, which may be worth it, having that pressure and continuing to have the Ezreal march on towards the base. Several blue members in the top side jungle of the red team, and they are going to continue to put the pressure on them. Ezreal doing a great job of trying to disengage from the Rakan. Here comes the Volibear ult. The Paranoia comes through and lands onto the Kai'Sa. A lot of damage going on to the Kai'Sa. Nocturne's able to lock up the kill. That's Corki able to lock up the kill onto the Rakan, and now you're going to see the Volibear fall to the Nocturne. That is a 3-kill trade, and the Baron buff still on the blue team. No men down, and they are going to march on mid here and try and make something happen. The Xin Zhao and the Karma are not going to be able to stop it at this point, as they rotate bot to try and get that base turret bot side and the base turret mid. We've still got 5 seconds until the Rakan's up. There's a lot of work that this blue team can do with the Baron buff still on them. For about another 20 seconds or so, they still have advantage here. Now the Kai'Sa's up. Volibear going to be spawning any second. Blue team taking a little bit of damage. The Nocturne not able to do too much there, has to run away. However, Ezreal's chasing onto the Karma and puts a lot of damage out onto her. The empowered buff, Baron buffed minions are in the area. And the blue team is going to go ahead and do a reset here after taking the mid and the bot inhib. They say that's enough for us, thanks. Let's take a look at the gold difference. Almost a 13,000 gold difference in favor of AOE single split. Very good job. And the next Mountain Drake is going to be joining the map here in about 2 minutes. We'll have to see how the teams decide to prioritize that and fight over it as the Baron buff falls off of the blue team. Set doing a great job of escorting those super minions up and putting pressure on the bot side. Meanwhile, the top side of the map is going to get 4-manned, and Xin Zhao is going to find himself taking a lot of damage. The special package coming out of the Corki, however, not many of those turret shots are going to scare him. Corki now taking a couple turret shots. Nocturne taking some damage from the Kaisa Q. They're working on this turret. It's about halfway down. Ezreal's not slowing down his pace at all. Meanwhile, the teleport and the set are going to come through, and you've now got 2 members taking the Nexus turrets while the rest of them push in topside. No, they're going to join the fight here. Set bringing out the Karma, and she's going to fall over to the Ezreal. That is a 2-man advantage in favor of the blue team. AOE single split is going to knock down the last Nexus turret. They're going to start working on the turret. This Nocturne just working his way through the turret, half health. You've got 3 members trying to fight back. The Volibear gets polymorphed, and there's nothing that'll happen. That is going to be game 3 in favor of AOE single split. Thank you very much for tuning in. That was our game. That was our 3-game series. Unfortunately, we will not have a game 4, but that was a 2-1 series in favor of Blossom. I want to thank AOE Single Split and Team Blossom for letting me host this and shoutcast it. That was very kind of you to let me do that. If you guys want to hear more about those teams, go ahead and look them up. Otherwise, feel free to tune in tomorrow night. We'll be doing another high-level game in this channel, and I'd love to have you there. If you haven't done it already, hit the follow button, and feel free to watch more videos. I love you. Thank you for stopping by, and have a great night.